Topping the news at this time, inter-island sailings to Tobago have been cancelled for today. According to a public notice from the Port Authority, the sailing of the water taxi and TNT Express have been cancelled due to existing weather conditions. It said these conditions are expected to persist with gradual improvement around midnight. The situation will be monitored and an update to the sailing schedule for Tuesday will be issued later today. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley was not stuck at sea. It was reported by the Express newspaper that the Prime Minister was stuck at sea for several hours as the TNT Express ferry to Tobago experienced engine problems. However, according to a statement from the Office of the Prime Minister, this is absolute fabrication, since the ferry set sail at around 4 p.m. on Sunday, with the journey to Tobago being uninterrupted and without incident. As such, the Office of the Prime Minister is requesting an immediate retraction and apology from the Trinidad Express for publishing what it said was this most erroneous and misleading article. The Tobago Truckers Association is disappointed that Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley did not take time to speak with them and hear their concerns when he opted to take a ferry to Tobago on Sunday.
He drove off, he didn't speak to any reporters or anybody, and he left. We don't know if he went back to Trinidad or where he went. He had some placards up and so, but he didn't stop to talk to anybody. He just drove out, and if he made the trip on the ferry, he could at least up and talk to somebody. Well, it was also chewing a little bit, so I don't know. But it's not that I'm making an excuse for him, but we find he could at least up and talk.
He said there are many questions still to be answered as they relate to measures to deal with problems on the sea bridge. It's been said that a new vessel should be here soon. However, according to Mr. Amid, no one knows the name of the vessel. He said as it stands, he does not know what to think.
You're expecting a vessel. You're not giving us the name of the vessel, because if you give us the name of the vessel, we could pull up online, go on the shipping site, pull up the line and see the vessel, know where it is, and if it will be able to come here in 2 weeks. But we believe that because all what is said and done, that the maritime relationship with Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the world could be damaged with what is being bandied about in the media.
To other news now, there's a halt in the economy of Tobago. The chairman of the business chamber, Demi John Cruikshank, says business with the constant breaking down of the inter-island ferries, business people are not able to travel between the islands to conduct transactions. He told CNews they are also making losses in the domestic tourism area.
Market anymore, a robust international market. So we depend heavily on the domestic, both sea and air bridge. Two people, Carol has been working. They've been trying their best to accommodate people on the air bridge. But the reality is that because the sea bridge is not working, it's putting extreme pressure on Carol and their operations.
Mr. Cruikshank said while there is no shortage of food items on the island, the construction sector is suffering.
A business community. We spoke with the Truckers Association and we indicated to them that we would have, when we had this food shortage and the crisis that we tried to alleviate, what we did is that we told the truckers we would have given them priority to stock up the supermarkets, stock up the grocery shelves. So what we did is that we would have sacrificed in the construction and the hardware industry not to bring goods to Tobago, get the other items in Tobago. So the warehouses are now back up.
He said the chamber met with the board of the Port Authority recently and they had completed their job. Now it's up to the cabinet. To some crime news now, a 35-year-old man is nursing gunshot wounds following a drive-by shooting. The victim has been identified as Kevon Serrett. Reports say at around 11 p.m. yesterday, Serrett of 33 Shakonia Avenue, Morvar, was driving his gold Almera in the vicinity of John Flyover when he was shot in the chest by a high-powered rifle. He is said to be in a critical condition at hospital. Well, a police officer is dead and another in serious condition following a road traffic accident this morning. The deceased has been identified as 21-year-old Shaquille Mondesir. The injured is Constable Dane Hofford. The accident took place at around 2 a.m. in the vicinity of Courts on the Churchill Roosevelt Highway. Reports say Mondesir was traveling in an SUV when the vehicle skidded off the wet road and overturned several times. Mondesir was thrown from the vehicle and died at the scene. His colleague was also thrown from the vehicle. He was taken to hospital to undergo further treatment. This is the C News Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C News Live. Coming against the Attorney General and the Chief Justice, President and members of the Judicial and Legal Service Commission have been named as being interested parties in the case. Former Government Minister Devant Maharaj says it appears that the JLSC is operating like an old boys club.
We hope, one, that the JLSC, the body that appoints judges and magistrates and so on, do their job in a lawful manner with a legally constituted body. I think it's ironic, if not farcical, if not so tragic, that the body in charge of judicial appointments in itself is deficient in its own appointment, and the officers and those in authority to effect a proper composition of the JLSC have been remiss in their duties.
The motion, which seeks to get an interpretation of the law as it relates to the constitutionality and legality of the Commission, was filed this morning by former Attorney General Anand Ramlogan in the High Court. Mr. Ramlogan is acting on behalf of former Government Minister Devant Maharaj. Maharaj is challenging the presence of two retired judges on the JLSC, Roger Hamill-Smith and Justice Humphrey Stallmeyer, and is seeking redress in this matter. President Anthony Carmona will swear in two puisne judges to the High Court on Tuesday. In a statement, the Office of the President said the appointments were made in accordance with the advice of the Judicial and Legal Service Commission and by virtue of Section 104(1) of the Constitution. While the Education Facilities Company Limited, EFCL, continues to attract controversy as the majority of their board failed to appear before the Joint Select Committee this morning. Chairman of the JSC on State Enterprises, David Small, confirmed he only learned this morning that EFCL Chairman Arnold Pigott had resigned. The Vice Chairman, who is due to appear before the JSC, also stated he would be absent. But with corruption allegations swirling against the EFCL, Mr. Small said the non-appearance of all save one of the board members at the JSC was disrespectful.
Yet somehow, Christopher Braffett, Anthony Bisnat, Jeffrey Francis, Indu Sharma, Ricardo Vasquez, Clyde Purmel, Mr. Purmel is here, Dean Burgeon, and Steve Samlal Singh could not be here. Not one of them could be here. Let's see who turns up at the appointment this afternoon at 2 o'clock, because it will just cement in our minds that they have decided to try to put things in place to stymie the work of this committee.
The sole board member to face the JSC could not answer questions about audits of the company put to him by the Joint Select Committee.
Senator Mark, I am afraid that I will be unable to do all that you have requested, for the simple reason that Mr. Purmel was only appointed a director February the 16th. Since then, I've probably attended about 3 meetings, and I'm still grappling with trying to understand what is going on at EFCL, and therefore I will be unable to give you the type of answer that you require.
Chairman Small said they would call on the board to stand before the JSC again and would seek summons if need be.
The committee takes this as a significant sign of disrespect, and it will not be tolerated. It will absolutely not be tolerated. It is their plan. They could run, but they can't hide. So that and I'm putting it on the record now for the member of the board who is here, that this committee will be having a subsequent hearing at which we will demand that every available board member attend. And there will be no room for any wiggle room, because we're not tolerating this level of disrespect.
The EFCL board is expected to meet with the Minister of Education at 2 p.m. today. Members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service are seeking the public's assistance in locating 16-year-old Melchizedek Zulu, The Mukurapo East Secondary School pupil was reported missing to the West End Police Station on Thursday. He was last seen at their industrial estate Diego Martin home. Melchizedek is of African descent, 5 feet 2 inches tall, slim-built with a brown complexion. He was last seen wearing a white T-shirt and a pair of 3/4 pants. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Melchizedek Zulu is asked to call 800-TIPS or contact any police station. Well, there was a lot of rain across the country over the weekend and into today, and we are in the hurricane season. So we have on the line our meteorologist Ian Wallace to shed some light on the weather. Good afternoon, Ian. What can you tell us?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. And yes, we're not only in the hurricane season, we're in the wet season, and the months of June, July, and August are typically the wettest of the year, with June being the second wettest and July being the peak of our wet season. And overnight and into this morning, there was a lot of rain, up to 37 millimeters recorded at Piarco International Airport from 8 p.m. last night to 8 p.m. this morning. It was an extremely wet night, and this was all caused not by a passing tropical wave, but just got some help from upper level trough. And basically, there's been southwesterly upper level flow from Venezuela going out into the Atlantic, and this has basically been supporting the rain clouds that have come through. It's also very moist across the southern Windward Islands, particularly for Trinidad and Tobago. And because of this moisture and because of the support that this moisture is getting from the top of the atmosphere, we'll likely still see a few more bouts of rain and some heavy showers as well as we go through the afternoon. Bearing in mind that during the afternoon there will be daytime heating. Despite the clouds, the temperatures are rising. So once we get to warmer temperatures during the afternoon, we'll still likely see a couple of showers, some of them turning heavy, possibly thundery, as we go through the afternoon. Now things should begin to settle, at least in terms of the thundery activity for the most part, as we go later on overnight. But unfortunately, there's a lot of tropical waves coming through, and because there's lots of moisture around, we may well be seeing more rain, particularly some of that turning thundery as we go into Tuesday. And a reminder that so far at Piarco, recording about 60 millimeters of rainfall, and we normally get about 250 millimeters for the month of June. So we've got just about a fifth of the month's rainfall already. So obviously this June is forecast to be wetter than normal, but overall the wet season actually will be seeing below normal rainfall. So we'll get all our rain at the front end of this wet season, and then towards the middle and the back end, things will be drying out. So we'll be getting less rainfall as we get towards our second peak, which is usually in August, October, and November. So in terms of the weather, then obviously be mindful about street or flash flooding, also the possibility of some gusty winds in those thunder showers. But obviously everyone should take care as we go through the wet season and the next coming months.
Thank you very much, Ian. TSTT cables have been stolen near the compound of Southern Sales on Superior Road, San Fernando. And according to the company, this has caused disruptions in the landline, internet and TV services in and around the area. TSTT said at this time personnel are working to restore service later today, June 5th. In Gasparilla, a vehicle pulled down cables in the vicinity of the NP gas station at Bonaventure Road, affecting landline, internet and TV services to customers in the area, and every effort is being made to restore services by 6 p.m. tomorrow. For one day, June 9, 2017, the United States Embassy will move to San Fernando. In a statement, its offices will be based at the Southern Academy for the Performing Arts, SAPA, Todd Street, San Fernando, from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Charge d'Affaires John McIntyre said that this is historic because it's the first time the embassy will literally be working outside the Port of Spain offices. He said this is an opportunity to share information about what they do. They will offer some American citizen services, including the renewal of U.S. passports. While they will not be issuing visas, they will be talking about studying in the U.S. and the visa application process. A call is being made for both employers and employees to sit together and find a way forward so people will not lose their jobs. Hanif Benjamin from the Center of Human Development said with the tough economic times, employers should not look at simply sending people home as a way of maintaining a profit.
There are employees who even refuse to take a pay cut. You see, and we have unions encouraging, we are taking a pay cut, and we, they had to work for the money. And so the question as to whether or not we understand the tough economic times that we're in, are we really understanding that some people have no choice?
He said both parties must make a cut and must understand the situation.
I employer who decide, what, let us look to cut cost as opposed to people. But the employer, on the other hand, must be willing to allow that. And so there must also be firm timelines and reviews. So an employee, of course, cannot be innovated, well, whenever things get better, we will raise it, or whenever things get better, we will do this. There must be clear, concise information.
The CARICOM EU Economic Partnership Agreement has been deemed a success by the parties involved. Officials who worked on the project met at the Hyatt Regency Hotel this morning for a conference themed Strengthened Capacity for International Trade, the Way Forward. The agreement, which was signed in October of 2008, has been provisionally applied since December 29th of that year and was recently concluded. Minister of Trade Paula Gopi-Schoon affirmed the government's commitment to maximize the benefits and opportunities under the EPA. She said through the $25 million US IDB loan granted under the EPA, government will work to build key areas such as customs and trade facilitation, procurement and competition. And while this project has come to a close, the European Union says they will continue to support the region.
The EU increased substantially its financial envelope for the Caribbean Regional Programme. And for the period 2014 to 2020, 346 million euros have been set aside for cooperation with the region.
Well, that's a CNews report at noon. I'm Karen Koze-Philippe.